Okay, we're continuing on with our tour of these cannons. We get to the oldest cannon in the Washington Navy Yard. The oldest piece in the collection is made for King Charles II of Spain in 1686. Cast by Andres Melendez, whose name appears around the muzzle. Named San Bruno, was captured from Algiers during the Barbary Wars. Got quite a history. And unfortunately, it's just sitting outside, again, like all the rest of them, subject to bird droppings. And see, this one was cast under, I guess, less improved conditions than some of the others. The bore is a little bit off-center. Now, that's not going to hurt it, because after it was cast, they sighted it all in and made sure that it would hit a target at a certain distance. So it's not going to hurt the gunners, but just as something to note, you see it's slightly off-center, because they cast these with a core. Again, the name of this is San Bruno. Name should be around there. Oh, San Bruno's around here, I'm sorry. San Bruno's right there. Here's the one coat of arms, which is probably the coat of arms the country it was cast in. And this was cast in South America. Alright. The date, 1686, back here. This is the coat of arms of Spain. Beautiful old coat of arms, which fortunately those designs were cast in. You can still read them despite the extensive corrosion on this piece. And you've got a serial number back here, some type of a number in Roman numerals, which is almost gone. And you see again, there's quite a bit of corrosion on this piece. The dolphins. Melendez, that's Andres Melendez, the name is up here around the muzzle. See that? And again, I'll have to go home and look up exactly where in South America he was. Probably Lima. Lima, Peru. There were a number of good founders for many years that cast cannons that looked just like this. And I think this is probably a product of Lima, Peru, but we'll go home and look it up. And again, the ornamental iron carriage. And again, sadly, there's a great deal of copper that has run off of this that you can see on the concrete, and in turn it's run off into the grass from there. Let's take a look all around. See that green stuff in there? That's copper that's run off of the gun. The gun is deteriorating, and it's a fragile old piece also. You know, it wasn't the greatest job of casting when it was cast, but it is what it is, was what it was. And this ought to be recognized that it's a fragile piece of history, extremely old, and I've recommended that the piece be moved inside darn near a year ago. And of course, nothing was done. They said, oh, well, we don't have space, and this and that. Well, I can walk over to the museum and show you hundreds and hundreds of square feet that this thing would take up very little of. But, you know, they got their priorities, and politics and so forth, and I'm just one person here yelling about this, and they got admirals and captains and senior civilians and everybody else yelling at them to do other things. They don't really care about this issue. So are they going to do what I've asked them to do? Hell no. They don't care. Not a priority. No money. I told them I'd move it in there. No, we don't have room for it. Well, okay. They'll be sorry. Let's walk up here to see some other great pieces. These pieces are much larger than the ones we've looked at so far. And they go back, some of them are a little earlier. Not earlier than the last piece we looked at. That's the oldest piece in the yard. But these are very large. Approximately 10-11 feet long. They're 24-pounders, a couple of them. A couple are 18-pounders. This one right here is a 24-pounder. They call it a 27-pounder here, but in Spain it was a 24-pounder. And it was cast in Barcelona in 1788. And it was on one of the Tripolitan gunboats captured by Stephen Decatur in 1804. The proper name of this gun is Camillo, and you can still read that pretty well. Okay, read it upside down as we get away from the shadow. Camillo. Bird droppings all over it. It's still a smooth bore. Get up close, you can see what the acid rain has done. It's eating it. In another 100 years, nobody will be able to read that name, Camillo. Bird droppings all over it. Trophy number, you can hardly read it all. Trophy number, I don't know, it's got a single digit. 8? I'm not sure. Massive piece, really. This weighs probably 3 tons anyway. Nice big coat of arms, getting pretty weak. Carlos III. You can still read it was cast in Barcelona on the 28th of June 1788. And again, you see the difference here. Get up close, you can see what that corrosion has done. The dark color, I think, is the less corroded material, and the bright color, you can see there are little islands of metal in it. So you can actually measure, this thing is probably corroded a very measurable distance. Here's a much fancier piece. Again, on a nice ornamental carriage. It's again probably about 10 feet long. It's a French gun, suffering as the rest of them from corrosion, but the designs in this were quite deep, and so you can still read most of them. But the elements are trying to change all that. You know, it's gradually being eaten away. Like you see, it's getting hard to read this inscription. But the coats of arms and so forth are still pretty legible because they were cast in there pretty deeply. This one's had quite a number of different types of firing locks mounted on it. If you can see from those bolt holes, I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different bolt holes. And there was a big block of bronze on there, probably right where that square thing is dug out to mount a firing lock. And you can see the raised vent there, probably to reach that. This was cast so early that it was cast on a core, and there's one of the iron chaplets. This is cast by Béranger Danicourt in Douai, which was one of their principal arsenals in France, in January of 1740. So it's quite an early piece, and in my humble opinion, deserves a lot better than just sitting out here with the bronze. Again, you can see it running off, the green on the concrete. Just really kind of a disgrace. The cock's head here is to indicate the caliber of the weapon to the gunners, supposedly. And it's kind of a beautiful casting and carving here. We'll go back and look at this one again. Take a look around. 12-pounder bronze gun, cast for Louis XV at Douai in 1740. Alright, let's look at the sign. May be captured by Stephen Decatur at Algiers in 1815. Very historic piece, and again dissolving. Look at the green stuff coming off.